Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So with Valentine's Day right around the corner, I've had a lot of requests to do a Valentine's Day makeup look. Half of you guys were asking for like a subtle makeup look, the other half were asking for something a bit more intense, aka this look here. So I've decided to do two makeup looks in one video. Pretty much everything I'm using today is either drugstore or super affordable, so I will leave links to everything down below. The only thing that is a bit more high-end is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, but I have listed a few dupes and alternatives in the description box down below, so make sure you check that out. This is of course the more intense glam makeup look, but I am also going to be showing you guys how to create this more subtle glam makeup look. So if you do want to see how to create either of these looks, please stay tuned. Okay, so as you can see, I've already got my brows on just to save time. I want really dewy skin for this, so I'm going to go in with my Lottie London Bay Primer, just because it adds a little bit of luminosity. It's kind of like this pinky sort of shade here. I'm just going to chuck that all over my face. I'm trying to use as many drugstore products as I can today. The eyeshadow palette is not drugstore, but I will find an alternative. But I think everything else pretty much is, or it's super affordable. Then I'm actually going to mix a combination of things for the foundation. So I'm going to take the Bourjois 123 Perfect. This used to be my favourite foundation. And I'm going to take 2.5 pumps of that, I think. Then I'm going to be taking the Freedom Strobe Cream, similar to the MAC Strobe Cream, and take about, I don't know, half a pea-sized amount of that. And now I'm going to sneeze. And then, just to make things even more glowy, I'm going to go in with an oil. You can use pretty much any oil, apart from cooking oil. I just use the Gelique Skin Balancing Facial Oil here. And I'm going to try this out. I haven't tried this before. Just putting it on with a damp Real Techniques sponge. I'm going to clean up around my brows in a minute, so I'm not too fussed about that just yet. And then I'm actually going to go in with a little bit more of the strobe cream. I think Makeup Revolution do one of these as well. Just taking a little bit, and I'm just going to pop that on my cheekbones. I'm going to use two different concealers. Obviously you can just use one, but I'm just being a bit crazy. I'm going to use the Lasting Perfection by Collection, just on certain areas of my face that I feel like need a little bit more coverage. So just like around my nose and on my chin, because I do have a few little tiny blemish scars there. I'm going to add a tiny bit under my eyes as well, not too much though, because we're using something else under our eyes today. I'm going so extra for this makeup look. I just want to pack it all on my face. I'm just so in love with my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I'm going to tap that in my finger. So in love with the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye that I just don't tend to look at other concealers now. But the Lasting Perfection is a classic. Okay, so that's pretty much covered now, but like I said, I want to be a bit extra, so I'm going to go in with the, what's it called? Got It Covered Concealer in the shade Fawn from Lottie London again. And I'm just going to take probably like, I don't really know, a tiny little amount. It really does go a long way, this stuff. And I'm almost going to like highlight my under eyes with this a little bit. So before we were concealing, now we're concealing and highlighting. And also just down the centre of my face, on my chin a little bit more, and we'll go down the nose a little bit as well. And why the hell not? Go a little bit under my contour too. Perfect. Super natural everyday look. Now I'm going to take another Lottie London product. I promise this isn't sponsored. This is the Ready Set Go powder, and I'm just going to slightly pack a little bit of that, not too much, just under my eyes. I'm not going to full on cake this on like I would other powders, just because I find this one is really good. It sets really quickly, but if you put too much on, then it can go a bit powdery under your eyes. I find that you don't actually need to go crazy with the bake. Like that is plenty. And I'll put a little bit on the chin as well. Just any excess on my sponge, I'm just kind of taking that down my T-zone a little bit, because we do want glow, but we don't want oil slick. So this has only been on for literally about 30 seconds now, and I'm just going to go ahead and brush that off already. And it's fully set. Dust any excess on that brush onto my lids quickly. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. Just quickly go over the T-zone as well, just to make sure we've got rid of everything. I'm pretty happy with that so far. To contour, I'm going to take this Makeup Revolution contour palette. What's this called? It's called the Ultra Sculpt and Contour Kit. This is super cheap, and I think it's in the sale at the moment. And I'm just taking my cream cheek brush by Zoeva, and I'm just gonna pack that on there. Don't worry about being too blended just yet, because we are gonna bronze up, so that'll kind of blend it all in a second. And also just gonna put a tiny bit around the tops of my forehead. And then, as always, just get rid of that double chin. Now I'm gonna bronze the skin up a little bit using the Rimmel Sun Bronze in the shade 022. And I'm just gonna dust that lightly over the top at first, because it's quite easy to add a lot of this. So just go very lightly at first, and as you can see, it does kind of blend out your contour a bit more as you go along. Don't be afraid to put the bronzer slightly up on your cheeks as well. It does just make it look a little bit more natural. I'm actually going to take it slightly over my nose as well to give like a sun-kissed look. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with blush. Obviously, you can just go ahead and use this one in this palette. I'm actually going to go ahead and use Milani Luminoso, but I also wanted to mention, because like I said, I am using a more high-end palette. For the entire eye look, well, not the entire eye look, but for like the main bulk of the more dramatic eye look, pick up just a pretty intense matte blusher. I'm sure you probably have one in your collection. That will do just fine. But yeah, I'm just going to take a little bit of Milani Luminoso and just pop that on the apples of my cheeks. Just because I find it does give another hint of glow. I didn't actually like this blush when I first tried it, and now I am obsessed. So now we're going to move on to eyes for a moment, and I'm actually going to go in with the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the colour Milk, so it's just the white one. And I'm using this as a kind of eye primer. We did obviously set our eyes, but I'm just going to pop this mostly over the lid, because using the white will make the colours pop. You don't have to be too neat with this at all. I'm just going a little bit wider than I need to. I'm just going to go in with an eyeshadow brush. I use this one a lot just to apply my eye primer. It's the Real Techniques, the domed shadow brush. I'm just going to blend that in. So once you blend it in, it doesn't look too crazy. I mean, I wouldn't recommend going out like this, but so you're just kind of packing it on, but also blending out the edges. Now I'm excited. So I'm going to be going in Anastasia Modern Renaissance. I know it's hard to get, but it is so worth the money. I don't think I've ever used a palette as much as I've used this, and I have used this a lot of times. Still looks pretty much brand new. So first of all, I'm going to go in with the shade Tempera. So it's just this light shade here, and I'm just going to set the lid. And then I'm going to go in with the shade Burnt Orange and also a tiny bit of Raw Sienna. And I'm just going to go in the crease lightly, just for the transition shade. Just super, super lightly, just so we kind of define the crease, but without making it too brown. You could do a cut crease with this look. I think that would look really, really nice. Let me know if you want like a cut crease tutorial. I don't know if they overly suit me. I can do them, but I don't tend to do them that often because I don't think they're the best look on me. But if you do want a tutorial, then let me know. And then we're going to go in with the shade One Fresco, which is like this sort of mauvey, kind of lilac pink shade. And we're going to go further down just under that crease that we made. So we're going to start adding the pink. This is where it gets fun. You can go pretty far down with this. Try to leave the inner corner fairly free. You can blend a little bit of colour over there, but we're going to add something fun in a minute. So this is where it gets really fun. I'm now going to go in with Love Letter, which is this fuchsia pink shade. Tap off a ton of the excess. And I'm going to pack that on the outer corner. So just keep building that up. You can go as light as you want, or you can fully pack it on. And then what I'm actually going to do, because I want to create quite a sharp line, I'm going to take my Ready Set Go powder and I'm just going to take the corner of my sponge and I'm actually going to pack it on the corner like that. This kind of acts as tape, so if you are working with clients or something and you don't really want to go ahead and shove tape on their face, which, I mean, some people do it, some people don't, it's entirely up to you. But if you don't want to use tape or you don't have tape, then do this with your powder, and when you dust it away, it'll be a really nice sharp line. So now to make things a little bit more interesting, I'm going to go in with this, I think it's called the Awesome Metals or something. It's from Makeup Revolution. This one is in the shade Rose Gold. And I'm going to take that on a flat brush. You can also use your fingers if you don't have crazy claw nails. So yeah, I'm just going to keep packing that on until I get the opacity that I want. And then while I'm waiting, I'm just going to dust off that little bit of bake that we put there. And as you can see, it does just really sharpen up the eye look. And then you want to go back in with a little bit of Love Letter, and I'm also going to go in with a little bit of Antique Bronze. And I'm basically just going to go back in the crease ever so slightly, but kind of bring it in a little bit, just so it blends everything together. And if you do want it to pop a little bit more, just take a little bit of Vermeer, which is this shade here, on the same brush, and you can just pack that over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and now take some lashes. These are the Classy lashes in the shade Kayla. I'll leave a link to it down below, but they're really, really good. I've used these ones in particular multiple times and they still look pretty much brand new to me, and I do not look after my fake lashes. And then while I'm waiting, I'm just going to coat my lashes in a little bit of the Max Factor False Lash Epic Mascara. This is one of my favourite drugstore mascaras. Not going to apply too much, but just enough to kind of add a little bit of something to my lashes. And then just while we're waiting again, I'm going to go in with the I Heart Makeup Blushing Hearts in the shade Iced Heart, and I'm going to take this center colour here. I'm just going to pop that right on the inner corner to highlight. So now I'm going to take my lashes and plop. And then I'm going to take my Beauty Pie liner, which if you haven't seen my review on Beauty Pie, this is now officially one of my favourite liners, and I'm just going to slightly bring in that lash line a little tiny bit, just so it looks the slightest bit natural. And I'm also just going to fill in any gaps as well. I'm now going to quickly go ahead and even myself up a bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this eye, and I'll be back to you guys in a second. So now that I'm happy with the eyes, I'm going to go in with a highlighter. This is the Sleek Cleopatra's Kiss, and I'm going to take this highlighter here. I don't know if it has a shade, it's like the pinkier one, and I'm just going to take some of that onto a fan brush and pop some of that on there. And I actually have a brand new brush from Zoeva. This one is the Petite Fan, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of this shade. Like, look how tiny that fan brush is, and I'm going to go over my Cupid's bow. Don't know if I like it for highlighter. I think this is meant to be for dusting away under eye. So I'm just going to take my finger. Yeah, much better with the finger. Okay, yeah, that's much better. Okay, so it's better if you pack on a fair bit of product because it is quite a fine brush. Okay, yeah, I like that more now. And I'm also just going to take a little bit of that and pop it above the brow bone. Okay, yeah, took me a minute, but I'm obsessed with this now. It's really good for under the brow bone as well. But I've already got highlighter there, but I'm just slightly connecting it. This would be so good just here. Okay, so now for lips, I'm going to go in with a nude first, because I know some of you did want like a more subtle Valentine's Day look. I'm just going to line my lips with the Gosh lip liner. I think it's in the shade Nougat Crisp. Just lightly line them. Who am I kidding? Let me know if you guys have any lip liner recommendations, nude ones of course, because I always use the same ones. And then I'm going to go in with my new favourite lipstick. This is the Makeup Revolution matte lipstick in Chauffeur. Okay, so this is the finished look. Obviously still very glam with the false lashes and the glitter and the pink, but it's a little bit more toned down. You could obviously take away the pink eyeshadow, maybe neutral it up a little bit, and you would have still like a pretty glam Valentine's Day look. Now of course you could just leave this makeup as it is. I absolutely love this look. It's something completely different than what I normally go for. But some of you guys have been asking for a more out there look, so of course I thought I would throw that into this video as well. So I'm just going to show you a few super simple steps to take you from this look to something a bit more out there. So to go a little bit more cray with this look, I'm going to go in with the shade Love Letter again, and I'm going to take quite a lot on my brush this time. I'm just going to be using a pencil brush. and I'm going to blend that on my lower lash line. And I'm going to layer that up a few times because I really want that colour to pop. And I'm actually going to take it quite far down as well, I think. I find that smoking out your lower lash line always makes things look a little bit more kind of intense. And then I'm just diffusing the edges with a fluffy brush. I'm then going to make my eyes pop a little more using the NYX Wonder Pencil. This is just a kind of flesh toned eyeliner. And then I'm going to add a little bit more mascara to my lower lashes. Just so it's super intense. I'm just going to build that up a little bit. So this lip should pretty much last all day, but I'm going to go in with a liquid lipstick. This is the MUA Lip Lacquer in the shade Vivacity. I'm just going to go over the top. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. As you can see, it's very intense and dramatic, and all you've really done is add a pop of colour on the lower lash line and also add a pretty bold lip. Let me know which is your favourite look in the comment section down below. Do you prefer look 1, the more subtle glam, or look 2, this more intense makeup look? As always, please do give this video a big thumbs up if you did like it, and subscribe if you do want to see more of me. I post 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays. But apart from that, that's it from me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!